Hi everyone, how are you today? I hope you are feeling well and staying safe and healthy. I'm Hassan Zainuri. Welcome to this public speaking course. In this chapter, you are going to learn about introduction, conclusion, and transition. In this section of this chapter, I will talk about general guidelines for introductions and conclusions. First, let me tell you the learning objectives of this lesson. After learning this lesson, students are able to 1. Recognize the functions of introduction. 2. Recognize the functions of conclusions. Now, let's move on to the overview of this video. This is the outline of the topics in this video. First, the functions of introduction. Second, the functions of conclusion. Now, let's turn our attention to the functions of introductions. As you can see here, the main guideline is that the introduction and conclusion should each take up about 10% of your whole speech, giving the body section to fill up the remaining 80%. You can extend the introduction to 15% of the speech length if there is a solid reason, but 10 to 15% is a good starting point. Let's say your informative speech has a time limit of 5 to 7 minutes. If we average it out of 6 minutes, then we'll get 360 seconds. Because 10 to 15% of 360 equals to 36 to 55, the whole introduction should be about a minute, including the thesis and preview. Meanwhile, in the conclusion, you need to make sure that it will be around 5 to 10% of the speech time. So far, a 5-minute speech, the length would be about 30 seconds maximum. Now, let's turn our attention to the common introductions errors. There are some common introduction mistakes to avoid. 1. Rambling, which means unable to get to the point. 2. Just speaking to get comfortable. 3. Giving the explicit purpose statement, particularly as the first words. 4. Selecting a method that weakens credibility. Then the next common introduction errors would be like talking before you are at the speaking platform, then reading from your notes, and talking too fast. Next, let's turn our attention to the common conclusions errors. When it gets to the conclusion, avoid doing the following. First, constantly signaling the end. In other words, there should be no several conclusions or repeating as I close. You need to signal the end once only. Second, rambling. If you indicate the end, then end it. Third, speaking as you leave the platform or lectern. Fourth, showing your dissatisfaction with the speech through facial expression or body language. In conclusion, let me sum up the main point of this lesson. First, we have identified the functions of introduction and conclusion, and also the specification of the introductions and conclusion. Then we have identified the common errors in introduction and common errors in conclusions. That's the end of this lesson, and see you in the next video.